Okay, 6.1 is talking about trig, which most of you guys have had last year. So when we have trig, we have these three main functions, sine, cosine, and tangent. And the key is remembering what fraction they equal for the sides. And if you can remember the first letter, that's the best way. So we have an acronym, SOHCAHTOA. And the S is from here, the O right here, the H right here. SOHCAHTOA. And that helps you remember the main three, okay? These are the main three you're going to use. There's another phrase, and it's a little funnier, so it might help you remember easier. Some old hippie caught another hippie tripping on acid. So again, you're looking at the first letter. So like here, S-O-H, S-O-H, C-A-H, C-A-H, T-O-A, T-O-A. And then the other key thing is remembering which side goes where. Okay. So the trick is the right angle always gives you the hypotenuse across it. So even if my triangle was like this is always the H. And then you have to look at the angle and say which angle you're looking at to give you, O, which is opposite. So if I had theta right here, my angle there, O is all the way over here, then A is touching. As long as you can mark those three correctly, and you can remember those three main functions, you should be just fine in this unit. The other functions we need to know are the ones that are flipped, so let me use a different color here. Cosecant, secant, and cotangent. So these are just the original ones flipped. So instead of over H, it's H over O. And the C becomes an S. That means this C for cosine becomes an S. So they just switch letters and they switch spots. And then you can figure out the T because it's the only other one that has a T in it. And again, it flips the O and A. So if you wanted to remember like a SOHCAHTOA, this one is CHO-SHA-COW, if that helps. And then the last thing we need to remember is our Pythagorean theorem. So when you have a triangle, C is always the hypotenuse, and then for A and B it doesn't really matter. You can kind of pick. But if you want HOA, you have to know, before you can say O and A, you have to find the angle first before you can mark O and A. So let's try a practice problem. These are all pretty similar, so I only put one practice problem on. So first thing you want to do is figure out, okay, what angle am I looking for? I'm looking for angle X. So at X, I'm going to put a theta. So I know right angle gives me H. Okay? And then angle across from that gives me O, which leaves next to it being A. So my sine is over H, cosine was A over H, and tangent is over A. And then remember to flip them. So tangent goes with cotangent, sine goes with cosecant, and cosine goes with secant. And you just set up the fraction. So over H, A over H, over A over O just flips that. H over A flips cosine. h over o. And then do not get decimals. And don't reduce your fractions. Just leave them exactly how these are. Okay, the only other problem I wanted to show you is if you have something where, let's say I just gave you, sine of my angle, or maybe let's do even sine of y, with this being x, y, and z. So let me tell you, if sine of y was 8 over 10, how do I get cosine of y? So cosine is a over h, and sine was o over h. So we know h is 10 and o is 8, but we don't know a yet. So this is where you have to set up your triangle. So, let me go a step back. So h, we're looking for angle y. Oh, I marked that wrong. Let's make this y. So erase that, make that y, make that z. My bad. So let's mark this as our angle. So this is O, leaving this side to be A. So we know that's 10, that's 8, and that is our unknown. So to solve this, we are going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and h has to be c. And then between a and b, it doesn't really matter. So a squared is our unknown, and b squared is 8 squared. And you just solve that. So that gets you 64. That gets you 100. So you don't want to square root yet. And then we want to subtract 64. So we get a squared equals 36. And now you can square root because that a squared is all alone. So we get 6. So now we can set up our fraction as 6 over 10. And that's it.